This video is brought to you by Roohanialoom.com.
When we look back into our childhood, many innocent memories take us in their arms. A big part of these innocent memories are the stories that were told to us by our parents or elders. If we pay attention to these stories, some of the characters in them are very clear, such as a princess, a prince, a sorceress or a witch, and a creature with one eye. This one-eyed creature appears in stories in two ways. First, he has a third eye between his two eyes, or he has only one eye in the middle of his forehead. Today, we will talk about the third eye and the Quran, as well as the process of awakening the third eye. The rest of the characters in the story do not surprise us because they were hidden somewhere in our imagination, and when they were mentioned, our mind draws a sketch and brings them before us. The greatest wonder is the one or three-eyed creature. The innocent mind of our childhood cannot draw an accurate image of it as it is new to it. At this point, a question also arises as to where this one or three-eyed creature came in the mind of an adult person. Is it a product of his imagination, or someone in the world saw such a creature and told it to others who later became the protagonist of the stories? This third-eye creature possesses magical and mysterious powers. What distinguishes this creature from others are the powers he possesses, and the source of these forces is the third or one eye in the middle of his forehead. It will be a very surprising outcome to try to find the truth about third eye by uniting the innocence of our childhood and the wisdom and intelligence of adulthood. All human beings and other creatures on earth use the five senses for their survival and protection. These include sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. The purpose of these five senses is to provide necessary information that is beneficial to humans and other creatures for a better life. We also often encounter situations in life where we feel something different from five senses. It is often related to an accident or some important event in the near future. If we understand the message of this unknown force, then we can protect ourselves from accidents and other bad things in life. People usually call it the sixth sense. There are people in our society who communicate with the souls or spirits of dead persons. The sixth sense is used to communicate and talk with the dead. Nature has always been very kind to man by showering her generosity on him at every step. Nature has given man not only five senses, but also many other great powers. We human beings are so preoccupied with the material race that we never use the gifts of nature and end up sleeping in the grave empty-handed. The system of our society is such that if science or medicine confirms something, we blindly believe in it, even though that reality already exists and some people are expressing it, but we reject their statements as nonsense. From centuries, spiritualists have pointed out the various hidden powers in the human body, mind and soul. They also told us how use of these hidden powers, but we reject them as unreal. It is also a strange coincidence that today's science is proving what spirituality pointed out centuries ago. There is a lot of emphasis on meditation all over the world today. Today, medicine is proving that people who meditate regularly lead better lives than other people and are protected from many diseases. Meditation is very important in the spiritual world and is practiced from centuries. A few years ago, when medical experts described the benefits of meditation, then world became attracted to it like crazy. In the spiritual world, man is not just a piece of bone and flesh, but an energy that conquers the universe. One of the gifts bestowed by nature is the third eye. The concept of the third eye is very old in the world of spirituality. It would not be wrong to say that the third eye exists in every civilization and religion. What is third eye? There are two important theories about the third eye. According to some, the third eye has a physical existence, but it cannot be seen with the eye, but a person can feel its presence between his two eyes. According to some, the third eye is a spiritual force, and by awakening, one can get various benefits. The third eye is often described as an inner or mind eye that belongs to the soul and is located in the middle of the forehead. With its help, a person is able to see things that his physical eyes cannot see. The third eye connects to spirituality and to the creative power of the universe. In our view, both theories are more or less correct. The third eye is a spiritual force along with physical presence. People who wrote about the third eye always focused on one theory. We are presenting some facts on this subject to our readers so that they can easily accept or reject it. The third eye and human evolution. According to a popular theory, man went through various stages of evolution. Interestingly, the ancient human civilizations valued the third eye more than the advanced and knowledgeable civilization of the present age. The ancient man regarded it as a source of awakening consciousness and connecting with the celestial forces. When we look at ancient statues and ruins, we find many things that testify to the fact that the ancient man was not only fully aware of the reality of the third, but also knew its usefulness. In ancient civilizations, the third eye was often attributed to gods or deity. We find convincing evidence in civilizations like Maya, Aztecs, Olmecs, Incas, Sumerians, and Egyptians. Similarly, in Asia, there is a lot of evidence in the Tao, Buddhist, and Hindu civilizations on third eye. The Maya civilization calendar got great popularity few years ago that the world will be destroyed as soon as the year 2000 begins. In the Maya civilization, the third eye can be found on the forehead of their rain god. Similarly, Eye of Horus and Ra is very popular in Egyptian civilization. This one eye was considered a symbol of protection, royalty, and destruction of enemies. In the Sumerian civilization, the third eye was attributed to the pine cone, the fruit of the pine tree. The most important Christian city, Vatican, also has a huge statue of pine cone. The ancient Greeks and Romans believed in the existence of a creature with an eye on its forehead. This giant creature is called a cyclops. Thousands of years old third eye statues can be seen in many places in Mexico, Colombia, Peru, and Panama. Three eyes creatures. There are creatures in the world that have a third eye on their body. There is a third eye on the head of an animal called iguanas. Similarly, the third eye is also found on the head of the tuataras in New Zealand. The third eye and religions. The third eye exists in all the major religions of the world. The followers of Buddhism and Taoism strongly believe in the existence of the third eye. In Hindu religion, the third eye is attributed to their gods Shiva and Krishna. In this religion, the third eye is shown at the place of ajna. The third eye is also mentioned in Matthew part 6 of the Holy Bible, which is the holy book of Judaism and Christianity. Third eye and the Holy Quran. The tragedy of all holy books is that those who believe in them pay attention only to their general meanings. The Holy Quran is most affected by this tragedy. The Holy Quran is the only divine book which claims to have knowledge of everything. Those who believe in Holy Quran cherish it as a holy book, and they never try to understand its verses. The condition of those who believe in Holy Quran is mentioned by Allah Almighty in verse 30 of Surah Al-Furqan in the following words, "And the Messenger, peace be upon him and his progeny, has said, O my Lord, indeed my people have taken this Quran as a thing abandoned." There are millions of memorizers of the Holy Quran in Muslim world. Similarly, there are innumerable readers and commentators of the Holy Quran. In every Muslim home, the Holy Quran is considered a source of mercy and blessings. It is recited especially during the month of Ramadan. Despite all this, the Prophet, peace be upon him and his progeny, will complain to Allah Almighty on the Day of Judgment that his, peace be upon him and his progeny, people, Ummah, abandoned the Holy Quran. This proves that the understanding of the Holy Quran by the majority of Muslims and the recitation of the Holy Quran has no importance to the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him and his progeny. It is also clear from this that our understanding of the verses of the Holy Quran is flawed, and the main reason for this is the lack of wisdom and contemplation. The Muslim nation accepts whatever is said by a religious authority, and the Muslim nation never bothers to know the truth. They never raise any question, but blindly believe the person sitting on the pulpit. There are big differences among Muslim scholars, from ablutions to prayers, Hajj and Zakat. If a Muslim is told that the Holy Quran mentions the third eye and the 7 chakras, he will immediately reject it and will declare it a sin taken from the Buddhism and Hindu religion. There are many verses in the Holy Quran in which Allah Almighty says that this book is a guidance for the people of intellect. Let us look at some verses in this regard. In the Surah Al-Araf, the Heights, verse 198, it is said that, "And if you invite them to guidance, they do not hear, and you see them looking at you while they do not see." This verse shows that in order to see the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his progeny, and to understand Allah Almighty's divine message, one needs a spiritual eye, not a physical eye, because the people of the society in which the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him and his progeny, was living saw him, peace be upon him and his progeny, with physical eyes only. The people were seeing and hearing with the physical ears, while the ability to understand the command of Allah Almighty One must have awakened his spiritual eye and spiritual hearing. Then in Surah Yunus verse 43, Allah Almighty says that, "And among them are those who look at you, but can you guide the blind although they will not see?" This verse further proves that in order to understand Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him and his progeny, and the divine command, it is necessary to enlighten the spiritual or inner eye. Those who were looking the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him and his progeny, with the physical eye, Allah Almighty is calling them blind. In Surah Sad verse 45, Allah Almighty mentions few prophets. Remember our votaries, Abraham, Isaac and Jacob, men of hands and eyes. All these holy prophets of Allah had eyes, so why is Allah especially mentioning their eyes? When we see Hazrat Yaqub as, among these prophets, the light of his physical eyes was lost in the grief of his son Hazrat Yusuf, as, which was restored by Allah, due to the shirt of Hazrat Yusuf, as. The mention of Hazrat Yaqub, as, along with other prophets, further indicates that Allah Almighty is not talking about physical eyes but spiritual or inner vision. In Surah Al-An'am verse 104, Allah Almighty says that, "To you have come signs from your Lord, and the light of understanding. So anyone who sees and understands does so for himself, and anyone who turns blind shall suffer the consequences alone. Say, I am not a guardian over you, to make you understand." In this verse, Allah Almighty is describing the condition of two people or groups, one who benefited by seeing the signs of Allah and the other who was blind despite having eyes because he did not recognize the signs of Allah. Here it is known that the signs of Allah cannot be seen with the physical eye, but it requires spiritual insight. Then in Surah Al-Araf verse 179, "And certainly we have created for hell many of the jinn and mankind. They have hearts with which they fail to understand, and they have eyes with which they fail to see, and they have ears with which they fail to hear. They are like cattle, indeed even more astray. Such are utterly heedless." In verse 179 of Surah Al-Araf, Allah Almighty describes the creatures who had physical sight and hearing but did not recognize the divine command. So Allah called them blind and deaf and put them into hell. This verse also highlights a great fact that every creature must awaken their spiritual vision or it will burn in hell. Creatures who do not awake their inner sight and inner hearing have been given a lower status than animals by Allah. In Surah Kaf verse 22, Allah Almighty says, "It will be said, you were certainly in unmindfulness of this, and we have removed from you your cover, so your sight this day is sharp." It is clear from this verse that Allah Almighty has bestowed many blessings on man, but due to his negligence and ignorance, he does not benefit from these. When man gets knowledge only then, he realizes the greatness of blessings. It is stated in this verse that man was unaware of the reality of the spiritual or inner eye. Then Allah Almighty guided him towards it. This guidance removed the veil from his eyes, and he understood the reality of life and other things. Nothing is hidden from the eyes of those who awaken their spiritual eye. They know the reality of everything and the solution to every problem. Is third eye physical or spiritual? As written earlier, people are divided in two groups on third eye. In reality, the third eye has a physical and spiritual existence and is related to the human brain. If we look at the human brain, the shape of the eye is very clear in it. To illustrate this further, the inner picture of the human brain is presented here. A question arises that why nature created the reflection of the eye inside the human brain. Is it a message to humans that the brain is not just a thinking machine, but something else? Where is third eye in the brain? Today, science and medicine are proving that if a person understands his mental abilities and if he adopts few things in life, then it will enhance his mental power. In a short time, man becomes capable of understanding the reality of life, and then he lives a much better life than others. The third eye is called pineal gland in the term of medical science. It is a part of our brain that lots of physical benefits and connects man to the spiritual world. The man who awakens his pineal gland, then he connects himself to the forces of the universe, and he sees the events of past, present, and future through dreams, visions, and intuition. Is it dangerous to activate the third eye? According to some, if a person is spiritually not strong, then awakening the third eye is harmful for him. A man is connected to the highest forces of the universe after the awakening of the third eye. A person who is spiritually weak cannot maintain the balance between his world and other worlds. The situation can make him mentally unbalanced. People who are not spiritually strong, if they awake their third eye, then they often have very scary dreams. At the same time, they can also see creatures that the human eye cannot see, and these creatures often bring harm to spiritually weak person. What are the symptoms of third eye awakening? Those who meditating for a long period time can show some signs of awakening of the third eye. Here are some key signs. Feeling of heaviness or sensitivity between the two eyes. Increased intuition. Afflatus. Knowledge of important events in the near future. The colors look brighter. Increase in patience. Headache. The urge to eat better. Look at life problems in a new way. Change the focus of thinking. Lots of dreams. Increased mental strength. Different methods to activate the third eye. There are many ways to awaken the third eye in different religions and societies. Each method claims to have success. The majority of the methods that have gained considerable popularity in awakening the third eye belong to Buddhism or Hinduism. At the same time, Western society has a number of methods for awakening the third eye. If we draw a conclusion from all these methods, the situation is as follows. In order to awaken the third eye, it is necessary to balance the centers of energy in the human body, which are known as chakras. With daily practice, a person awakens the third eye. Meditation is very important in awakening the third eye. The focus should be on the area between the two eyes. Use special colored stones attributed to the third eye chakra. The use of different incense for this purpose is also very effective. Applying turmeric or sandalwood between two eyes can also awaken the third eye. Avoid things that contain fluoride. Include foods that are not heavy on stomach. By practicing all these things, any human can awaken the third eye. The Islamic spiritual way to activate the third eye. The creator of this world has given religion as a system of guidance to mankind. Religion does not train man physically, but spiritually. Religion takes his soul to highest ranks, where he is given the power to shape his destiny as per his own will. With the awakening of the third eye, man realizes the reason behind his creation, and he also realizes that his body has been given to him as a garment. In fact, a man is a spiritual energy, which Allah did not create to perish. It is clear from the Quranic verses that we have already presented that the real purpose of man is to awaken his inner sight, and it is a force that separates him from the animals. According to the Quranic verses, those who do not awaken their inner sight are worse than animals. Awakening of the third eye opens many doors of life and future to man. It brings him to the point where every force in the universe begins to move according to his will. The poet of the East Allama Iqbal has said well about this. Raise yourself so high that before every destiny, Allah asks man that what your will is. We now present to our readers the Islamic spiritual method of awakening the third eye. Try to stay in ablution most of the time. Find a place where no one can interfere with your work. This is to be done at night before sleep, and after the method go to sleep without talking to anyone. Wear clean and loose clothing and perform ablution. Sit in a comfortable position. Your back should be straight, but not straight enough to cause you pain. Light few good incense in the room that calms the mind. Incense should be burning during the daily practice of this method. There is no fixed number of days. The method will continue until your third eye is awakened. It will start to signal you in the form of dreams, intuition. Memorize the text of Durudi Pak first given. When you have memorized the Durudi Pak, then start the method from the first Thursday of any new moon. The text of Durudi Pak is as follows. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadi wa ali Muhammadi nur al-anwari wa sir al-asrari wa siyadil abrar. When you start the method, close your eyes and breathe normally. Focus on your breath for a few minutes, but do not try to make it faster or lighter. After 2 to 3 minutes, your breathing will start to lighten automatically. At the same time, focus all your attention on the forehead between the two eyes. Imagine that there is a circle of light that is very bright. Now you have to start reciting the given Durudi Pak. Recite this Durudi Pak 101 times. After few days, you will start receiving signals about life matters in your dream or intuition. Pay special attention to your dreams. These dreams will have a message for you. In the beginning, dreams may not seem to have any meaning, but as you go on, the dreams will be more meaningful. By continuing this exercise, you will come to the point where by focusing with your closed eyes, you will find the reality of any matter. By awaking third eye, you will be able to have solution of every problem in life.